Hello, all, good morning. Before starting the next concept, I'll give you a quick recap on the topics whatever we discussed. So we discussed about SAP ERP. So ERP is the Enterprise Resource Planning application, which is used to run the entire organization business process. It provides better integration, reduce delays in business decisions, reduce communication delays, right? It provides a single source of data. You don't need to maintain multiple systems to maintain your organization data or to maintain your organization transactions. So SAP ERP acts as a single source of truth for your entire organizational data. Okay. So one system will manage the complete business process, including all the departments of the business, right? So that you don't need to maintain separate systems for each business process. You don't need to maintain one system for finance, one system for HR applications, one separate system for sales applications. Okay, so SAP ERP acts as a single point of truth for the entire organizational data. You don't need to go for different systems, right? So SAP is one of the most successful ERP in the ERP application market, right? And why we use ABAP? ABAP is used to develop new applications or create enhancements in the SAP ERP. You can create completely new applications or enhance the existing applications by using ABAP programming. Okay. We also discussed about OLTP and OLAP. OLTP is for online transactions, right? Sorry, not only online transactions, but any transactions. So where we maintain in the OLTP system, it contains what type of data? What type of data it maintains?
Transaction operational.
Operational data. That means most recent data, right? Which is useful for the business, right? Not the historical data. So whatever the historical data, what they are going to do, any organization, they archive it. Okay. Sometimes they take the backups and archive it because that is not at all helpful for the company's future transactions. Okay. Next, if they need any historical data, they can go and check in the OLAP system because we load historical data to the OLAP system. So OLAP system is for analytical purpose, reporting purpose, to generate the reports, to take the business decisions. How the data will be transferred from OLTP to OLAP system?
Business.
Using ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading process. Okay, that will happen after business hours, every day after business hours in any organization. Okay, then we discussed about master data and transactional data. So master data which changes rarely, right? We use master data to maintain so the master properties of the any customer, vendor, material, right? All these things, right? To create any transaction, master data is prerequisite. First, you need to maintain the master data to create any transactions by using those master data attributes. Okay, so the transactional data which changes frequently, daily transactions of any business process like sales order creation, purchase order creation, right? These are all examples for transactional data. Okay. Now, so what is ABAP? ABAP is a programming which we use in SAP to develop new applications or to enhance the existing standard applications without disturbing the functionality. Okay. We can also do modifications in rare cases. Okay. So the complete abbreviation of ABAP is Advanced Business Application Programming. Okay, Advanced Business Application Programming. It is used to enhance the standard applications or customize the completely custom applications you can create. Now, there are different programming languages, right? Can you tell me a few programming languages? What you know?
C, Java, Python.
C, C++,
Java.
Java, Python, COBOL, Pascal. They're all examples for the programming languages. Why we have different types of programming languages? So each programming language is developed with certain set of functionalities, with a certain architecture. For example, C it follows procedural programming. C++ it follows object-oriented programming. Okay, and there are different generations, right? In the initial days, they developed one programming language. What is that? We'll quickly go through the different generations of the programming languages. First, what is a program? Program is a set of statements. We write set of statements, right? And that should execute a specific functionality. Okay, that is called a program. Programming language can be anything. So what we do using a program, we give instructions. We give instructions to the computer to execute a certain set of functionalities. Okay, right? So if you take your mobile phone, when you click on call button, how it's going to open that keypad to select your phone numbers or to type phone number? Within the Android system, there is a program created, right? Whenever you click on that button, it will execute that program and display that screen with keypad, and it accepts the phone number as input, and it will make a call, right? So how that call functionality is working? Because there is a program created within the Android system to do that functionality, right? So whenever you click on a WhatsApp symbol, it's going to open WhatsApp application, right? That WhatsApp symbol, what is it? It is
Application.
a GUI, graphical user interface. That means presentation layer, right? When you click on that symbol, it will execute a program, and it will display all your messages, and it will provide you an option to send the messages, because there is a program created to execute that functionality. Okay, now that is a programming. What are different programming available? First generation programming language. There are different generations of programming since from the beginning of the evaluation of the computers. So what is the first generation programming language? It is a mission
Hello.
language. Yes,
Hello.
yes.
Sir, are you sharing the screen?
Oh, I am. Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you for reminding. Is it visible now?
Ah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah. So, what is the first generation programming language? It is a mission language. Just binary coding, zeros and ones. It contains only zeros and ones. Because computer hardware can understand only binary language. Cannot understand any English language or English statements. It can understand only zeros and ones. What do we call that language? Mission language or binary. Okay, so this is low level language. Writing program using binary language is very difficult, right? You cannot provide, it is not easy to provide instructions to the computer with the combination of zeros and ones. It's called a low level language. Okay, that is the first generation programming language. When they invented computer, they created programs with the help of a binary language only, even though it is very difficult, right? There is no flexibility, it is not easy to learn, right? It's very complex, but that is the option, that is the only option they have in the initial days. And then they come up with the next generation programming language, second generation programming language, to simplify the programming, to simplify the programming. What they invented? assembly language. They invented the assembly language. Okay, so it uses some symbolic statements, some symbols in the programming. Instead of zeros and ones, it uses some symbols to write the programming language. What do we call that programming language? Assembly languages. We call those second generation languages as assembly languages. But can system hardware can understand these symbolic statements, these symbols? What the system actually understands? System hardware?
Binary.
Binary, zeros and ones. System can understand only zeros and ones, but they come up with second generation programming language to simplify the programming process, right? Because binary language is very difficult to write. They created a programming language with the help of some set of symbols, right? To create the to make it developer friendly, to make it programmer friendly. What do we call that programming languages? Assembly languages. But system cannot understand these symbols or any statements, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
System cannot understand. Then how this program is going to be executed? If you write the symbolic statements, we need a special tool called assembler, right? We need a special tool called assembler. What is the purpose of this assembler? It will convert assembly language statements into which language? Binary. It will convert assembly language statements into binary language behind the scenes. You don't need to worry about binary language. You need to write assembly language using some symbols, set of symbols. The system converts those statements into binary language before sending those instructions to the system. Okay? Because system can understand only binary. So what is the tool we need to convert assembly language statements into binary?
Assembler. Interpreter, I think.
Assembler. We need assembler. Okay, assembler will convert that statements into binary. So it is also a low level language. Even though we use set of symbols, that's not easy, that's not developer friendly. But when we compare it with binary, it's slightly better, right? But it's not very great for the developers to write the code and to learn it. Very difficult. So that's why we call it as again, it is also comes under which language? Low level language. Okay, second generation programming language also contains low level language. What is mandatory here? Assembler is mandatory. Assembler is mandatory, and it is not compatible for the all systems. It's not compatible for the all systems. It is dependent on specific computers. It's not going to work on all computers. Okay, and assembler is required to execute the assembly languages. Next generation, third generation programming language. Third generation programming language comes under high level programming languages. Comes under high level programming languages. Why we call this as high level programming? Because the statements what we write in third generation programming languages are human readable. You can easily read those statements. For example, scan, print, write, select. These are the statements what we use in high level programming languages. Third generation high level programming languages. Third generation programming language also comes under high level programming languages. What are the examples? C, COBOL. These are the examples for high level programming languages. We write human readable statements, general English statements here to write the program. Okay. Again, what programming can system understand?
Binary language.
Binary. Again, even though you created binary language to make it developer friendly, system can still understand binary only. Then how your high level programming language statements are going to be executed in the system? We need to use compiler and interpreter to convert third generation programming languages into binary. What are the tools we need? Compiler and
And
interpreter.
enter.
So what is the use of compiler? It converts high level programming languages into binary before execution of the program. Okay, there is one difference here. Observe the difference between compiler and interpreter. So you can use either compiler or interpreter. So what compiler will do? Once you complete your program in a high level programming language, for example in C, once all the program is completed and you saved the program, right? And when you click on execute, then it will convert the complete program into binary and execute it. That is the functionality of compiler. It's completely convert the complete program into binary and executes it. But what is interpreter? It convert line by line. Whenever you write first line, it will convert into binary immediately. And whenever you start writing second line, it will convert into binary immediately. It's not going to convert, it's not going to wait for the complete program, right? It will convert line by line. Right? That is the difference between compiler and interpreters. Depends on the requirement. Sometimes they use compilers, sometimes they use interpreters. Okay, but to execute the third generation programming languages, what is the prerequisite? We need either compiler or interpreter. Okay, to convert into binary. So what is the difference between compiler and interpreter? Compiler will convert the entire program once like into binary before execution, but the interpreter, it will convert
Line by
line by line. Whenever you type first line, it will convert into binary. It won't wait for the complete program. Okay, next, fourth generation programming languages. Fourth generation programming languages also comes under high level programming languages. Okay, high level programming languages. So again, each generation simplified the programming process to make it more developer friendly, easy to learn, easy to implement. What are the examples for fourth generation programming languages? ABAP, SQL. These are the examples for fourth generation programming languages. Okay, human readable statements, human friendly readable statements. Right here we write general English statements. We write here to create a program, to create some set of instructions. Okay, so that's why we call it as ABAP 4, because it is a fourth generation programming language. Okay, it also comes under high level programming languages. In fourth generations also, it will automatically convert these fourth generation programming language statements into binary in background. Okay, you don't need to worry about those background, what will happen in the background. Okay, next, fifth generation programming language. What is this fifth generation? Auto generated programs. In like whoever have some exposure to some AI tools or the recent application development, they can see auto generated code. You don't need to write the code. If you provide your specifications, it will automatically generate the code. You need to align that code, and you need to group that set of statements and need to execute it, right? You don't need to write complex programming. Okay, it will automatically generate the code. That comes under fifth generation programming languages. Okay, these are also high level programming languages. Okay, there are two types, low level and high level. And in low level, we have first generation and second generation. In high level, third generation, fourth generation and fifth generation. So ABAP comes under which generation of programming language? Fourth generation.
fourth
Okay,
generation.
human readable statements, easy, developer friendly statements we write in ABAP. And we're not going to write complete coding here. There's combination of coding, designing of the forms, right? Sometimes we generate the code, right? Is everyone clear on this? Now we'll see a few keywords what we use in ABAP program. Data. So this data is used to create some memory within the program. Okay, what is the use of this data statement?
Memory.
Create some memory in the program. Okay. Parameters. If you want to provide some inputs, right? If you want to provide some inputs to the program, so we use parameters. Okay. Select options is also for inputs to accept the user inputs. We use select options. Parameters accept a single input, but select option can accept multiple inputs. Select statement we use to select the data from database tables. Okay. Select the data from database tables into program level. Loop to loop the records one by one. We use a loop statement. Anyway, I'll just give you a quick overview. We are going to work on each and every statement. So insert statement, it is to insert a new record, right, into the database table. Delete. What is the functionality of delete? Just read the name and tell me what is the functionality of delete in general terms. Why we use delete in general? Can you hear me?
Clear the memory.
To delete anything, right? To delete. Why we use delete in your phone? Just delete something, right? Here also we delete records, right, from the database tables using delete. Clear, it is used to clear the memory, clear and refresh. Constants, to define the fixed values, we use constants. Write statement is used to display the output. Moving value from one memory to another memory, we use move statement. Okay. And read statement, to read the record. Sort, to sort the records by ascending or descending. Update, can you tell me this, what is the purpose of update? Forget about SAP and programming in general, what is the purpose of update?
Update the records.
Which is already there, right? So we update the record which is already available. That's why we use
Update the
update,
new.
right? Modify. Modify is also similar to update, but update will change the existing record if it is already available. For example, employee 100. If you need to change the city, then we can update that record. If that employee record 100 is already there, if that is not available, can we update that record? No, right? If the employee 100 is not there, we cannot update it. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then modify. What is the purpose of modify? It is also changing the existing record to update the existing record. But how it is different from update? If that employee 100 record is already there, it will update the data, right? If that employee record is not there in the table, what it will do? It will create a new record with employee 100. If the record is already there, it will update the data, whatever the values we need to update. If that record is not available, what it is going to do?
We
It will
will create the
create it as
record.
a new
It will
record.
create the new record.
That is the very important interview question. Difference between update and modify. Update can only change the existing record values. If the record is not available, update statement will fail. It's not going to do anything. But what about modify? If the record is available, it will change the values. If the record is not available in the database table, what it will do?
It create the record.
Insert. It will insert as a new record. That's why modify is combination of which one?
Insert and update.
Insert and update. It is combination of insert and update. Okay.
Sir, which is mostly preferred, modify or update?
See, you just need to update the existing record. You should not create new records. Right? Then
Yes.
use update. But your requirement is, if that record is available, change it. Otherwise, create it as a new record. Then use modify. It's purely depends on your requirement.
Okay.
Okay? You should not always use modify, because you should not create the record on your own. all the time. Okay, if your functionality is just to change the existing record, always use update. Don't worry about creating a new record. If it fails, display error message. Hey, I'm trying to update so and so record which is not available. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
These are the few statements which we use in ABAP, right? So, so these are all general English statements, right? Yes or no? Now, let's see different types of data types. When we talk about master data or transactional data, we are going to maintain some data in database tables, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
To maintain the data, we need to specify the type of the data. What type of data it is? We need to specify that in the table, right? What type of data it is? There are different types of data types available in ABAP. First one is character type data. First one is character type data. So we use character type data to maintain alphabets, numbers, special symbols, any kind of data. It can allow alphabets, numbers, and special characters. You can maintain any kind of data in the character type data. So you need to maintain the length, right? What is the maximum length you want to allow? For example, you are creating a character type data for name. You need to define the length. For example, 40 is the length, so that you can allow only characters up to 40 letters in the name. Okay, you need to define the length. If you do not specify the length, what is the default length for character type data? 1.
One.
It will allow one letter. For example, first letter of your name, it will allow. Okay, so character data can allows alphabets, numbers, and special characters. Next data type, number data type. Number data type. What does this number data type allows? Only numbers.
Numbers.
Only numbers. Okay, it can allow only numbers. It cannot allow any alphabets or special characters. Even though you pass alphabets and special characters to the number data type, what it will do? It will ignore those alphabets and special characters and accept only numbers. Okay, and what is the initial length? If you do not specify any length, so what is the initial length it can accept?
One.
One number. Maybe if you pass this value 1 2 3 4 5 6, it can accept only 6, I think, last available number. Okay, it can maintain only 6 because the initial length is only 1. Okay, is everyone clear? Here also you need to define the length. So can you tell me a few examples for number data, number type data? For character type, I can tell name, city name, address, right? These are all the examples for character type data. Your college name, right? Department name. These are all the examples for character type data. Can you give me a few examples for number type?
Mobile number. PIN code.
Yes,
Employee
mobile
ID.
number, PIN code, employee ID, right? These are all the examples for number type data. Okay. Can we use values like price, quantity in the number type?
Yes.
Yeah, it will accept, but price will contains decimals, right?
Okay.
100 rupees 50 paisa. We need to maintain decimals also, right, in the price, but numbers cannot accept decimals, right? We cannot maintain decimals, so it is not suitable for values,
Number.
right? Values, any price, quantity, we cannot maintain in number data type. Like pin code, phone number, these kind of values are suitable for number data type because they are not values. Okay. Next, date. Please concentrate. So what is the use of date data type? To maintain date values. For example, date of join of the employee, right? Last date of the employee, promotion date of the employee. To maintain date values, we use a date data type, right? Here we have two types, input length and output length. You don't need to maintain the length here. It will automatically assign the length for the date data type. Okay, you just need to specify the data type. You don't need to specify the length for date. Okay, we have two types of lengths here, input length and output length. So input length is 8. How it will maintain the date? Using this 8 length, year, month and day, year, month and day. 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is internal date format. This is internal date format. It is universal. If you open any SAP system in any organization, this is the universal date format for SAP. YYYY, MM and DD. Internal date format is same in any SAP system. Output date format might be different, depends on your system configuration. In one system you configure with slash separator, in other SAP system you can configure it as dot separator. So output date format comes with which one? Separator, with a separator, with a date separator. That's why the output length is how much?
10.
10. Okay, so internal date format and external date format. This is output date format. When we display the output, we use this date format. When we use it in the program level, what is the date format we need to use? This one,
Internal.
internal date format. Always consider internal date format without any separators. Year, month, day. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes.
Next, date data, sorry, time data type. Time, this is to maintain the time. Okay, this is to maintain the time value in your database tables. What is the input length? 6 hours, minutes and seconds without separator. Hours, minutes and seconds without separator. Okay, what is the external date format? That means output date format. 8. It
8.
includes a separator, hours, minutes and seconds. It includes a separator. Okay, we have timestamp also. We use in SAP. We call it as timestamp. Timestamp is combination of date and time. Okay, date and time. We call it as a combination of date and time. That we call it as timestamp. Okay, string. Next data type, string. String, there is no specific length we provide for string data type. It takes variable length. So the data what we can provide in a string data type is alphabets, numbers and special characters. It can accept any type of value. Okay. Character can also same, right? Character can also accept the same type of data, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then what is the difference between character and string? Why we use two similar data types with the same property?
By default, length is not mentioned.
Yeah. So the character type data, we need to specify the length. We specify maximum length available. Sorry, maximum length you are going to provide. So we can restrict it. Okay. But what about string data? When you need to maintain long text where you don't know what is the maximum length user going to enter, you need to provide some input for the long text. Okay, so in that case we go for string data type. In that case we go for string data type. Okay, where you don't know the exact length. For example, if you are maintaining a name, you know what is the maximum length allowed. For example, 40 characters, right? So we use string when we don't know the exact length, when you not going to um, specify or restrict the user to enter solely certain number of characters. Okay,
Yes, sir.
clear? Now integer data type. We use integer data type to maintain integer values, numerical values. So what is the difference between integer and number? It also accepts numbers, right? What is the difference? Integer can accept positive values and negative values. What type of values it will accept? Positive values and negative values. It can accept both in integer. Okay, and it cannot accept decimal places like this. It cannot accept decimal places like this. 10.50. It cannot accept decimal places. It can accept positive numbers, negative numbers. But if you pass any decimal value like this, 10.50, how this value will be maintained in the integer? It will accept it as 11 because it will round the value. It will round the value. Okay, it won't accept the integer, but it will round the value as 11 if you pass 10.50. For example, if you pass 10.20 to this integer data type, and what value it's going to take?
10.
10. You know floor and seal, right? Rounding it to upper limit or rounding into lower limit. Okay, if it is greater than equal to 10.50, it will round it to upper limit, that is 11. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it won't accept decimal places. Floating point, right? So floating point accept again positive values and negative values. Okay, unlike integer, it will accept decimal places. Is everyone clear on character type, number type, date, time, and string? Is everyone clear?
Sir, will number type allows negative numbers?
No, it won't. It won't accept negative values. It will just accept only numbers. For example, phone number. Your phone number does not contain any negative values, right?
Okay, okay,
Pin codes, general properties. It's not a value. We cannot say
okay,
number as a value. Okay. Pin code, door number. These are the examples for number data type. We are not going to maintain value. Okay.
okay.
Is everyone clear? So floating point, it's a scientific value. If you want to maintain any scientific calculation related values, we maintain in the floating points. But there is some issues in the rounding, right? So for to maintain any currency or quantity, we use packed decimal type P. Okay, packed decimal type P. You need to mention the length. You need to mention the length and you need to mention the decimal places. You need to mention the length and decimal places. How many decimal places you want to maintain? Okay, you need to mention that when you are using packed decimal. Okay, clear? It can also accept positive and negative values. Packed decimal can also accept positive and negative values. Okay, so you can pass values like this even without missing a single cent or single paisa, you can capture the values by using packed decimals. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes.
The difference between packed decimal and floating point, right? So in the floating point, you can maintain factorials, exponential numbers, and all this. Okay, but in packed decimal, it just maintains positive and negative values, including decimal places. Hexadecimal. So hexadecimal will value, like for every character, right? For every letter or character, there will be a hexadecimal value. If you want to maintain those hexadecimal value, we use a hexadecimal data type X. For example, if the value is 100, if the actual value is 100, what is the hexadecimal value for 100? That is 64, right? Similarly, we have hexadecimal value for A, B, C, everything. Everything we have a hexadecimal value. To maintain that hexadecimal values, we use a X, type X. Okay, we'll see the conversion here. So if you want to pass a value from one data type to another data type, so what are the possibilities? If you want to pass a character data type to number data type, is it going to allow?
No.
Character to number, it's not going to allow, because it won't accept alphabets and special characters. Character to character, possible. Character to integer, not allowed, right?
No.
Again, integer can accept only numbers, right? Packed decimal is also not possible, and floating point is also not possible, because these accepts only numerical values. What about number to character?
It is allowed.
You can
Yes.
pass, because character data type can accept any value. Number to number allows. Number to integer allows. Number to packet decimal is also allows. Number to floating point is also allows, because we are just passing the numerical value here. Okay. Then integer. Integer to character allowed. Integer to number is also allowed, and rest of the data types, because integer value also contains number numerical value. Okay. What about packet decimal? Packet decimal to character allowed. It contains decimal places. Please remember. And packet decimal to number allowed or not?
Not allowed.
Allowed, but you need to consider something. Can number type allow decimal places? No, right? Number type won't
No.
maintain the decimal places, but packet decimal maintains decimal places. For example, 10.50. If you pass that value to number data type, what it will take? You know how that value will be maintained? Number data type. Let me show you.
11.
If you pass 10.50 to number data type, how it will maintain that value?
10.
It will maintain as 1050. It will ignore the decimal place and accept rest of the value. That's how it maintains in the number data type. Is it a proper value?
No.
No, right? We are passing 10.50, but it's maintaining as a 1050. That is the dependency here. You need to consider. Okay? That's why they use star here. Packed decimal to integer. How it will maintain? There is a star here. It allowed, but with a dependency. What is the dependency? If you pass 10.50, how that value will be maintained? 11 in the integer data type. Okay? But what is the dependency? The actual value is 10.50, but it's rounded it to 11. It's going to increase the business value, right? For example, there are 10 lakhs transactions happen like this. It will give you a huge change, right? Even though it is decimal points. Yes or no? Because it is rounding the value. Either it increase the business value or reduce the business value, business transactions value. But that is not the actual figure, right?
Yes.
So it will give incorrect results. Okay. So you need to take care of the dependency. Packed decimal to packed decimal allowed, packed decimal to floating point allowed without any issues. Again, floating point to character allowed, floating point to numerical. Again, same dependency. It will accept as the complete number. Floating point integer, again, it will round the value and take it as incorrect data. Okay. And again, floating point to floating point to packed decimal allowed. These are the conversions you need to observe. Okay. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's see how we can access SAP system. Okay, let's see that first before going into rest of the topics. First, let's see where we access the SAP system. To accept the SAP system, what you need to do? Control R, run command. Sorry, not control. Windows R. All of you know this run command, right? Or you can also type in the search. What you need to type here? MSTSC. The server what we are going to use is remote desktop connection. So you need to connect a remote desktop system. To connect a remote desktop system, what you need to use? MSTSC, or you can also type here remote desktop connection. Can you see this icon?
Yes, sir.
So you can directly use this. Otherwise, go to Windows R, use run command and MSTSC. Okay. When you run that, so it will show this pop-up screen. What you need to enter here? You need to enter the IP address. You need to enter the IP address of the remote desktop system. You need to enter the IP address of the remote desktop system, and you need to enter user ID and password. You need to enter user ID and password. Select more. Okay. You need to enter user ID and password by going to more users. Okay. Enter your user ID and password. Click on connect. Once you enter your user ID and password, it will display this pop-up. Click on yes. To connect which system? Remote desktop system. It is the remote system maintained in a different location. So we connect to this system to practice SAP. Okay. In projects, we use VPN connections or direct GUI will be installed in your system. So this is called GUI. This is called GUI. We use this GUI system to connect the SAP. Let me show you the same here in the remote system. To access SAP, we use a GUI, graphical user interface. Double click on this. Or you can also search for the GUI. SAP, this one, SAP Login. Double click here. There is another way we access SAP system using Eclipse. I'll show you after a few sessions. So this is the launchpad or GUI. We call it as SAP GUI, where all the SAP systems are configured. Different versions. Here you can see two different systems, ECC and S4 HANA. What is ECC? ECC is previous version of SAP, right? So S4 HANA is current version, and this version of SAP is 2023 release of SAP S4 HANA. So we have both systems. You can practice the old version of the system, and you can also practice new S4 HANA version, right? You have that flexibility to understand both programming what we write in the both systems. Okay. To access SAP system, First you need to configure this. First you need to create this connection, system connection here, that we do here. Create connection, click on next. We provide the description of system ID, instance number, and application server address. System ID, instance, and application server address will be provided by system admins. That you need to enter here and click on finish to create the system. To create the connection, double click on it. So it will open the screen, login screen into SAP. So you need a user ID. For every user need a user ID and password to access the system. Okay. Every user need a user ID and password to access the system. You can see what are the options you can see here. Client, user ID, password, and what is this?
Log on language.
Log on language. Why we have language option here? Because SAP supports multiple languages. You can log in, you can access SAP system in many languages. For example, if you go to Germany, what is the official language they use? Are they going to use English? No, they use German
German language.
language. If you go to Japan, they use Japanese language. If you go to China, they use Japanese language in their business process, in their official communications. They don't use English. If you design SAP ERP to work or to display only English language, so is it possible to use this ERP by Japanese, Chinese, and German and different Saudi, all those countries? No, right? So that is why SAP is designed to support multiple languages. It can display data in multiple languages. You need to select the language what you want to log in. Depends on your language selection, it will display the data in that specific language. And client is a logical partition. So I'll explain in detail about client later. Just remember, it's a logical partition of the SAP system. You can divide system into multiple clients so that you can provide one client to certain users and another client to certain users. In general, in the development projects, we use one client for the development and another client for the testing. System is same, but the clients are different. Okay. Now, user ID and password. You need to enter your user ID and password to log in the SAP system. Okay. I provided my user ID and password, and this is the initial screen. Okay. This is the initial screen of the SAP. Okay. Here what you can see, a command prompt. This is a command prompt where you need to enter transaction codes. Please remember, to access different SAP applications, what do we need to enter?
Transaction codes.
Transaction codes. Each application will have a specific transaction code. Can you tell me one business process in SAP or any application in SAP?
C38.
Sales order. Let's take sales order. To create a sale order, VA01 is the transaction code. So this is the screen to create the sales order. When you enter that VA01, it will provide you this create sales order application. Okay. Go back. If you click on F3 or that back symbol, it will go back to the initial screen. Okay. SC38. SC38 is very important transaction code for ABAP developers where we create application programs. It's not a business transaction code. It is a technical transaction code. It is a technical transaction code where ABAP developers will create the ABAP programs. So we call it as ABAP editor or ABAP workbench. What is the transaction code for ABAP workbench?
C38.
SC38. Okay. SC38 is the transaction code for ABAP workbench. To create purchase order, ME21N. That is the, anyway, you don't need to learn these transaction codes. My intention is to show you how we access different applications in SAP. Again, if you need to open purchase order creation, transaction code is ME21N. My requirement is I want to keep this SC38 screen as it is. I want to keep this SC38 screen as it is, and I want to open new application in a new screen. How can you do that? If you directly enter ME21N, it won't do anything because you are already there in SC38, right? To open a new transaction from the existing, use /o/ME21N. If you use /o, it will keep the current transaction as it is. That means SC38 as it is, and open another transaction in a new screen, purchase order creation screen. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now my requirement is I want to terminate the current application and open a new transaction code. For that I need to use /n VA03. VA03 is to display the sales order, not to create or change, but display the sales order, VA03. I want to close the current purchase order application and open a new application. /n you need to use. So it will close the current application and open a new application. Okay. For that, what you need to use? /n/o/n and /o. Please remember. /o is to open new application by keeping the current one. Okay. Is everyone clear? When we need to use this /o and /n, when you are already there in one specific application and you want to open a different application, either by terminating the current one or by keeping the current one. If you are in the initial screen, go back. If you are in the initial screen, do you need to enter /o or /n?
No,
It's
sir.
not required. You can enter either. Still you can use /o VA03. What it will do? It will keep the initial screen as it is and open transaction code in a new screen. But initial screen is as it is. Okay. Again, it is not mandatory to use /o here. Since you are in the initial screen, you can directly type the transaction code without using /o or /n. Okay. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
So how can we access different SAP applications in SAP? By providing a transaction code. You need to know different transaction codes. There are technical transaction codes like SC38 and SC11, and business transaction codes like VA01, sales order, ME21, purchase order, like this. Okay, is everyone clear? Let's create a simple program today. Very simple program. What is the transaction code to create a program?
I see that.
SC38, ABAP workbench or ABAP editor. Here you can now create a new program, change the existing program. Okay, here you can create a new program, change the existing program, or just display the existing program without changing it. Right? Here you can access the standard programs provided by SAP as part of the standard functionality, and custom programs, whatever you create on your own. You can enter standard application programs and custom application programs here. Can we change the SAP provided standard application programs? No, we cannot directly change them. We can either enhance, right, the application with the additional features, or sometimes we modify it in very rare cases. How to create a custom application? There is a rule in SAP. What is that rule? Name of the custom application name, custom object name should starts with Z Okay, or Y. The name of the custom application name or custom table name should starts with Z or Y. For example, Z demo first program, and spaces are not allowed in the name. Space is not allowed in the name. Okay, space is not allowed in the name. You need to use underscore. You need to use underscore. Okay, space is not allowed. You need to use underscore between the name. If you want to separate the name with different words. Okay, the first rule is it starts with either by Z or Y. So to create a custom program, what you need to do? What is the transaction code to create, change, or display programs?
SAP.
SC38, we call it as ABAP editor. Okay, we can also call it ABAP workbench. Okay, so what is the rule to be followed to create any custom program?
Z or Y. Name
Name should
start.
start with Z or Y, and you should not contain any empty spaces in between. Okay, for example, Z demo program. You can give like this. But to make it more user friendly to understand the program name, use underscore, okay, in between the names, okay, for better readability. So this is how we create programs with underscore, okay. We do not create one single name without any separator, okay. Now let's create a simple program. How to create a program? Z demo underscore first program. Create. You can also access standard programs here by entering the name. Create. Provide the title of the program. It will display in the output. First program. You can give any name, any meaningful title here. It's very important to select the type. What type of program it is? Is it an executable program or different other types of programs? Select executable program if we need to execute the program independently without any dependency, right? That program we select it as executable program. Click on save. We are saving the program. Here we need to select the package in which folder location you need to save this program. So it's kind of folder, right? Where you want to save this program. For that we need to provide a package name. For example, ZSD, ZFI. So depends on the project. We use different package names, right? For now, we select local object. That means a local package, right? We are not using any actual package now. Just select local package. Otherwise, that package name is $TMP, temporary package. We are going to save that program into a temporary package or click on local package. It will save that program in a local package. Is everyone clear? The program is created. The program is created. What can you observe here? Some header text is available. It is commented. It is not an executable statement. It is in the commented lines. If you use star in between any statement, right, it will comment that code. That means it's not going to execute. What is the other default statement you can see here? Report and name of the program. Report and name of the program. Please remember, this should be the first statement of the program. This should be the first executable statement of the program. Okay, report and the program name. It is mandatory. Okay, clear? These statements will be automatically generated. What is the purpose of this? You can maintain some text. What is the purpose of the program? Any instructions you can maintain here. Are they going to execute? No,
No.
they're not going to be executed. These are commented, disabled code where you can maintain some instructions or user notes. Okay, okay, some user notes. Clear? Now, every statement in the program should ends with the dot. Okay, every statement in the ABAP should ends with the dot. Now, we'll just print something in any programming language. First, we just try to display some output. So, what is the statement to display the output in ABAP?
Right.
Write statement. Write within the single quotes. Within the single quotes, since it is a hard coded text, we need to enclose within the single quotes. Ends with dot. What is the purpose of write statement? To display the output. Now, save the program. You can see save button here, or in different layouts we can change the layout so that you can see save button here also. Save the program or simply click Control S to save the program. Okay, what is the shortcut to save the program? Save the program and check the program. What is the shortcut to check? Compile. We are just compiling the program. What is the shortcut? Control F2,
Control.
or you can simply click this. Check the program. If there is any syntax errors, it will display that syntax error. No syntax errors found. For example, I added one more some incorrect statement here. Right, as an incorrect statement here. Now check the program. What is saying? What is it saying? It's displaying the error. If you click on the error, it can show the exact line where this error is. Line number 8. There is error in the line number 8. What is the error? You can clearly read that error. The statement WRITGE is not expected. It is also recommending a correct similar statement. Right might be the correct statement. If you think this is the right statement, just click on this. It will automatically correct it. Otherwise, manually also you can change it. If you click on this, it will automatically correct it. Okay? It will correct the syntax errors by Control F2 or this one. Check. Next. Can we now execute the program? What is the status of the program?
Inactive.
Inactive. We can only execute active programs. You need to activate the program. What is the shortcut to activate?
Control F3.
Plus
Control F3.
all of them.
Or simply click on this icon. Select your program. You can see a lot of programs here because a lot of inactive programs created by different students. Select your program, whatever program you created, select that program and continue. It will activate the program. Now, what is the status of the program? Active. Now, to execute the program, you need to press F8 or this one, direct processing. This is the output. First program is the output. Okay. I did some changes, again same process. Save it, Control S, check the program and activate the program. Whenever you do changes to the program, you need to make sure it is active. Check and activate. Okay, execute. Displays the new output, first program output. You need to press F8 or this direct processing. Okay, is everyone clear? F2. What is this for? Check. What is this for?
Activate.
Activate. F8. What is this for?
Execute.
Execute.
Execute. Execute the program. Okay. Save, check and activate. Make sure your program is active before executing the code. Okay. What type of program you need to create?
Independent.
Executable
Sorry.
program. So we need to create a executable program, write the statements. Okay. Package nothing but some folder like structure where you can save your program. Okay. For example, we save sales related programs in one package, finance related programs in another package, like that. Okay. What is the first statement of the program? It will be automatically created report. Okay. And all the program statements should ends with which one? Which one? Dot. Okay. All the program statements should ends with the dot. Okay. Clear? Here you can maintain some text, instruction text to execute the program. It won't execute. Okay. It's not going to execute. If you want to comment any statement, just place star at the beginning. It will comment the code. This statement is not going to execute anymore if you comment it. Okay. Remove the star to make it active. The shortcut to comment the code is press control, left arrow to comment it. There is a shortcut. Control, right arrow to uncomment. Okay. Control, left arrow to comment. Control, right arrow to uncomment. Okay. Don't use press. Okay. Plus, here plus indicates you need to use the combination of both keys. By selecting control, you need to press the next keyword. Don't use plus here. Okay. Plus indicates you need to use the both combinations. Okay. Okay. Right arrow is to uncomment. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Sir, can we write the comment at the end of the code?
Yeah, you can like this. Use double quotes. This is a output keyword. We actually use this user notes here. Okay. Like this. Using colon. This colon, you can write the comments for each line. Okay.
Okay, sir.
It won't comment the complete statement. It will comment only this one. Okay. Is everyone clear?
Okay, sir.
You can also use this to comment the code. Always make sure your program is active to execute it. Okay. There is an option called Pretty Printer to align the formatting. We'll see that in the next session, the rest of the options. So we do this in remote desktop connection. You don't need to install anything, right? You just need an internet connection so that you can practice from anywhere. Okay.